Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon can get extremely expensive, but it doesn't have to be. You just need to know where to look. So in this video, I'm revealing some of my favorite Napa Cabs that sell for less than $100 per bottle. 4 of these even sell in the $45 to $65 range. There are a couple bonus wines that are just slightly more than $100 as well, but those wines offer extremely compelling value at that price point and compare favorably to Napa Cabs that sell for much higher prices. This first wine comes from a classic, old-school producer of Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. Its inaugural 1972 vintage was included in the famous Judgment of Paris tasting. 10 years later, there was a rematch, and the 1972 Cloval Cabernet Sauvignon actually won the rematch of the Judgment of Paris. This is an extremely solid producer that just goes about its business and produces consistently excellent wines year after year and decade after decade. Better still, their pricing has always been extremely reasonable for the quality. The current release is the 2022 vintage, and it sells for an extremely reasonable $50 per bottle. This wine is a blend that consists of a little more than 3/4 Cabernet Sauvignon, 12% Merlot, and there's also smaller percentages of Malbec, Petit Verdot, and Cabernet Franc. This is a wine that features flavors and aromas that include mixed red and black fruit, tobacco, cedar, and mixed herbs. There's ample acidity and a smooth, long finish. This is a wine that you can enjoy immediately, but it's certainly a very age-worthy wine as well, so it makes an ideal cellar defender. And while the 2022 vintage is on store shelves now, definitely feel free to purchase and try the 2021 vintage, which I like even better, and also keep an eye out for the 2023 vintage going forward, which is also going to be an extremely strong vintage in Napa Valley. Next up is a wine that comes from a producer located in the prestigious Pritchard Hill area. Pritchard Hill produces some of the very best wines in Napa Valley, but unfortunately many of them sell for extremely lofty prices. Fortunately, however, the Chappelle Signature Cabernet Sauvignon has always been an excellent value. The highly acclaimed 2021 vintage is on store shelves now and sells for around $89 per bottle. This is a wine that compares favorably to wines that sell for much higher price points. This wine is a blend that consists of around 80% Cabernet Sauvignon, and then the rest consists of a mix of Petit Verdot, Merlot, and Malbec. This is a concentrated wine with a darker fruit profile, so think more blackcurrant and black cherry and plum, and there's also mixed herbs and spices. Winemaker Philip Titus has been doing an excellent job there for decades, and the wines are consistently excellent year after year. There is some detectable new oak influence on these wines, and I often get descriptors such as mocha and coffee, particularly when they're young, but this tends to integrate over a few years. So if you don't like the new oak influence, then I would just put these away in your cellar for 4 or 5 years at least. In fact, this is an extraordinarily age-worthy wine. During one of my visits to this winery more than a decade ago, I bought some of the 2009 vintage. I recently revisited one of those bottles, and it's still showing extremely well. So this is definitely one that you can enjoy when it's young, or you can let it age in your cellar for 15 years or more with no problem at all. This is also a nice producer to visit if you'd like to visit Pritchard Hill, as many of the wineries in that area are smaller boutique wineries, or they're wineries that otherwise don't offer visits. Nestled atop Spring Mountain, Smith-Madrone Vineyards and Winery boasts 38 acres of planted vineyards on its 170-acre ranch. 13 of those acres are planted to Cabernet Sauvignon on steep slopes with elevations ranging from 1,300 to 2,000 feet above sea level. A pioneer of dry farming, Smith-Madrone emphasizes a sustainable approach that encourages the vines to seek water and nutrients deep within the soil. This practice yields small grapes with high skin-to-juice ratios that produces wines of exceptional depth and concentration. You can obtain the excellent 2021 Smith-Madrone Estate Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon directly from the Smith-Madrone website for $65 per bottle. This wine is another blend that consists of a little more than 80% Cabernet Sauvignon and around 18% Cabernet Franc, but there's also a splash of Merlot. This wine matures for 18 months in about 2/3 New French oak. This wine features flavors and aromas of blackcurrant, blackberry, plum, cherry, violets, sage, and mixed spice. This is one that definitely benefits from a few years of additional bottle age and will cruise in your cellar for 15 years or more. Next up is a wine that's arguably the single best value in Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon of which I'm currently aware. If you shop around, you can get this highly acclaimed wine for as little as $45 per bottle, although I did see it selling for anywhere between $45 and $60. This is a wine that comes from impressive fruit sources, 3 of which are located in the prestigious Oakville AVA, including a vineyard that's directly across the street from the famous Tokelon vineyard. It also includes some fruit sources from a top vineyard in Calistoga. This is the 2021 Turnbull Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. This wine has impressive purity of fruit, and this is partly due to the fact that they mature this wine in very large 500 to 600 liter puncheons instead of the smaller 225 liter oak barrels that are used by most producers in Napa Valley. One of the 2 bonus wines in this video also comes from Turnbull, namely the 2021 Oakville Reserve Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. This wine received tremendous critical acclaim, and it compares very favorably to some quite expensive wines from the Oakville AVA. Nevertheless, you can purchase this wine directly from the producer for $110 per bottle, and it certainly delivers at that price point. You can expect flavors and aromas of blackcurrant, black cherry, violets, mocha, and mixed spice. This is a well-balanced wine with ample acidity and a long, complex finish. Located in Napa Valley's Yountville AVA, Dominus Estate is owned by Christian Moex, whose family is certainly more well known for its ownership of prestigious Pomerol-based wineries such as Petrus, Les Fleurs Petrus, and Trotanois, as well as one of the favorite wineries from Saint-Emilion on this channel, Belair Menage. While the 2021 vintage of the Dominus Estate top wine averages around $400 per bottle now, the Dominus Estate Napanuk can be purchased for as little as $99 per bottle if you shop around. Better still, despite the fact that Napanuk makes consistently excellent wines, the 2021 vintage may very well be the very best vintage of Napanuk ever produced. This is a highly acclaimed wine that compares favorably to wines that sell for double this price point or even more. Napanuk is not a second wine that's made from declassified fruit that was not good enough to make it into the top wine. Rather, it's a second label that's made from fruit that comes from the historic Napanuk estate and which is carefully selected for its lively fruit, soft tannins, and early maturing characteristics. The 2021 vintage of Napanuk consists of 92% Cabernet Sauvignon, 6% Cabernet Franc, and 2% Petit Verdot. It matures in 20% New French oak and is designed to be enjoyed on release, but will certainly age for a few years without any difficulty as well. I've tasted this wine several times over the past year or so, including during a visit to the winery, and it's always been extremely impressive. It features flavors and aromas of mixed red and black fruit, earth, floral notes, and mixed spice. It's a well-balanced wine with ample acidity and a long, complex finish. For Dominus fans, the other thing I'll say is that you'll definitely want to stock up on these 2021 wines while you still can, and while they are still in the inventory channel. That's so because Dominus will not be releasing any wines for the 2022 vintage. That's because they experienced some difficulty with the tremendous heat spikes that took place right around harvest. So I would expect that they would have no choice but to raise prices, perhaps even in a meaningful way, beginning with the 2023 vintage, to help to compensate for the lost vintage of 2022. Next up is a wine that comes from legendary winemaker and consultant Paul Hobbs. According to Michel Rolland, Paul Hobbs is the number 2 winemaking consultant in the world, second only to himself. I'm a huge fan of the 2021 vintage in Napa Valley, and I also very much appreciate the Coombsville AVA. Just one quick side note about the Coombsville AVA. About a year ago, there was a winemaker who sent me a couple of his wines because he wanted some feedback. One of them was an extremely highly acclaimed wine that received very lofty scores from some prominent critics, and the other one was a wine that was well received but had lower scores, and it was from the Coombsville AVA. After tasting both of them, to his surprise, I actually told him that I preferred the wine from the Coombsville AVA. This is because it had a little bit more freshness and acidity compared to the highly acclaimed wine that was definitely more extracted and concentrated and just a little bit too much to enjoy that young. Certainly with additional time, the highly acclaimed wine would probably show much better. But especially for immediate or near-term consumption, I really appreciate wines from the Coombsville AVA because they are a little bit more elegant and they have ample acidity and freshness. So the next Napa Valley value is the 2021 Paul Hobbs Coombsville Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a wine that's another one of the bonus wines that sells for just slightly more than $100. This one is right around $120 or so. But it's certainly a highly acclaimed wine that delivers compelling value at that price point. This is a structured and classic Cabernet Sauvignon from Paul Hobbs. It's a Bordeaux blend that also includes some Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and Merlot. This is a wine with abundant acidity and a smooth, silky finish that features flavors and aromas that include blackcurrant, graphite, and mixed spice. Back in 1976, the Venge family made a savvy decision to purchase a 17-acre vineyard in the Oakville district that was planted to Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. In 2008, their son, Kirk, acquired full ownership of Venge Vineyards, and he's carried on the family's winemaking tradition. Kirk is a talented winemaker that makes a number of high-quality wines, both from estate fruit, as well as some fruit that's sourced from high-quality vineyards from throughout Napa Valley. I've had a chance to taste a number of the Venge wines over the past few years at Premier Napa Valley, as Kirk definitely makes the rounds and is very generous about sharing his wines with those who attend. I've been extremely impressed with those wines, many of which sell for much higher prices than those contained in this video. Fortunately, however, Venge also has a 2022 Venge Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon that's called Silencio. This is a wine that I found selling for as little as $50 per bottle from retail sites. You can also get it for $65 per bottle directly from the winery. This wine is notable because it's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. Certainly some of the other grapes, such as Merlot, aren't nearly as expensive, so oftentimes the wines that sell for the lower price points contain a healthy blend of fruit other than Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a vibrant wine with pronounced aromatic intensity and flavors and aromas that include blackcurrant, blackberry, coffee, and mixed herbs and spice. There's an impressive finish for a wine at this price point, and this is a wine you can enjoy immediately, but it will certainly age for a few years with no problem as well. If you're interested in wine recommendations, wine collecting strategies, and learning more about wine, please do subscribe to my channel. I've been collecting wine for more than 15 years and also have a level 4 diploma from the WSET. So I have both formal certification as well as substantial practical knowledge from the School of Hard Knocks. So the next wine that I'm buying in 2025 is the 2021 Blankier Estate Prince of Music. Blankier Estate is a high-quality producer in Napa Valley that's located in Yountville. Its vineyards are located in a very prestigious area, very close to Oakville, and its neighbor is none other than Dominus Estate. Better still, the winemaker for Blankier Estate is Graham McDonald, who, along with his brother Alex, runs McDonald Vineyards, which makes one of the most coveted collectible wines in all of Napa Valley. While the McDonald wine is very, very difficult to locate, this Blankier Estate wine sells for an extraordinarily reasonable $78 per bottle, yet received a 94-point score from Jeb Dunnick. This is the entry-level wine for Blankier Estate, and it's a proprietary blend that typically includes Cabernet Sauvignon, along with Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and some Merlot. 2021 was a very strong vintage for Napa Valley, so this particular bottling is definitely worth keeping an eye out for, at least for the 2021 vintage, and likely for the 2023 vintage as well. This is a full-bodied wine with round tannins and flavors and aromas that include black currant, cherry, iron, tobacco, mixed spice, and chocolate. You can enjoy this wine immediately, but there's no rush as it will also age 6 to 8 years with no problem whatsoever. Next up is a wine that comes from a producer that's located near St. Helena at the base of the Mayacamas Range. Their St. Helena property has been planted to vine since way back in the 1880s. The 2021 Senegal Estate Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon is an excellent wine that can be found for as little as $70 if you shop around. This wine is a Bordeaux blend that consists of 86% Cabernet Sauvignon and there's smaller amounts of Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and Malbec. This wine matures for 20 months in 80% New French oak. This is a wine that features a mixed red and black fruit profile, and there's also flavors and aromas that include tobacco, mocha, and mixed spice. There's ample acidity and a smooth finish. This is a wine that's already showing well, and that will only get better with additional bottle age. While it's not from Napa Valley, I should also mention that Senegal Estate has a wine that's called Details that's produced from Sonoma Cabernet, and which sells for $42 per bottle, and that's certainly an excellent value as well. If you're thinking about visiting Napa Valley and you'd like some recommendations for some wineries that offer some unique and interesting experiences and not just the traditional tasting room experience, then please be sure to check out this video.